Alright, you know the deal. DreamWorks has been popping off lately with the likes of The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots Last Wish just dominating 2022 in regards for animation. And now we're in here for 2023. And what does DreamWorks have in store to offer? We got Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which just released this weekend. And I saw it early. We'll get to that later. But what did I think of the movie? It was really, really good. I was going in with like, this is gonna be good expectations, but I walked out like, wow, this was actually really good. DreamWorks still has got it, and we're gonna be talking about all of that today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's talk about Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. Now, honestly, when this very movie was first announced, it was originally called Meet the Gilmans. It was a similar story to what Luca was, but I know people are keep throwing those comparisons, but it it's more of just Turning Red and Luca combined, but the good elements of both of those movies. That's what it felt like. I saw the similarities there, and it's not a complete copy. No, definitely not. It's its own thing, and that's what I really liked about it. First of all, the animation looks great. I know that people have been thinking DreamWorks needs this Puss in Boots animation for all their movies, and please don't expect that for every single one of their movies, because it's probably not going to happen. But the animation on this movie was stunning, especially once we went underwater and saw this world. It looked beautiful on that big screen. And let me just say one thing, the soundtrack on this movie was bopping. I was not expecting the soundtrack to have so many songs on it that were actually like bangers. Some of them were original, some of them weren't, but it worked really well with this movie and the vibe of everything. And once again, I wish these companies would just do better, and the trailers don't serve the movie that much of justice. It kind of does. It gets you to the point of the action, but it doesn't give you stuff about the other characters. Like, first, we meet Ruby Gillman's family, and we barely see that in the trailers. We get small promotions of it, but that's about it. I really came to like Ruby Gillman's family. They're all very fun characters. Her father, her mother, her brother, they're all very fun characters, and even her uncle, which was definitely the most comedic character out of the whole movie. I really liked all of them. And then you have the school kids, which we never really got to see much of them in the trailers, but we do here. They're very supportive of Ruby, and I really did like those characters. And obviously, we gotta come down to Ruby's love interest, which kinda stayed in the beginning of the movie, and then we just never see him again for a while. And then one other standout character was definitely the sea captain that was going after all these krakens and was so hyper fixated on krakens are real and everything like that. Every movie like this has that one cuckoo head, but he was also a fun character too. A lot of characters that were just not in the trailers, I really liked in this movie, and I really liked the world they were building. And now we gotta get up to Chelsea. Now, I feel like a lot of people are gonna like her character in this movie. She's kind of one-dimensional, kind of not, but you're gonna be slightly surprised on where this movie goes with Chelsea. Like, from the trailers, you already know she's kind of the villain, but there's a little more to, what's going on with her dynamic and Ruby in this movie, and you'll just see how that is. She has a lot of she had a lot more screen time than I thought she was going to have in this movie, so that's really nice to see. I know she has her cult fan base, so people are gonna like this movie because of her. And then we got, obviously, Ruby. I really liked her character throughout this movie. Her arc throughout this, trying to figure out, who she is. Is she a Kraken? Is she a human? I really liked that. And then we went into the underwater world where we met her grandmother and we met other Krakens. And man, the world just looks beautiful. I did really like the grandmama character. I'm pretty sure, I think I forgot her name. But she was a really fun character too. And one thing I wasn't expecting is that there is a lot more to Ruby's mother than you think. I'll let you go watch the movie for yourself to figure that out. But yeah, there's a lot more to her mother than we think. And I noticed the promotions are just hiding a lot of this movie, but fair enough, you don't want to give everything away. I mean, you kind of did give up basically the climax, but that's fine enough. But one thing I was definitely not expecting was how deep. They were throwing jabs at Disney in this movie. The one thing about Chelsea being basically a ripoff of Ariel from The Little Mermaid, that was one thing in itself. But they were throwing jabs at Disney so many times, it was the point where the villain of this movie was just a punching bag for Disney, and there were so many references to The Little Mermaid. It was just funny, man. And I really liked how they do that, because obviously the CEO of DreamWorks is an ex-Disney employee, so he was having a fun time with it. One other thing I was definitely not expecting is that they got into the lore of these mythical creatures a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And if you think it's really just krakens and mermaids that have this war, it's really not. The world building in this movie is really, really good. And we'll get into what I mean by this world building later, but this world is massive and can go into many places. And that's where I think they want to leave it there for now. And one thing in the movie where, yeah, you can kind of figure out where it's going, and you'll figure it out for yourself. You'll know what I'm talking about. But it regards Ruby and Chelsea. Once you see this moment, you know where it's gonna go. It's a very quick cliche, and you'll know where it's going. Yes, that was bound to happen, but then again, the movie executed the action and the drama really well, and I really did like it. Like I said, the movie kind of feels like Turning Red and Luca. They just took the good aspects of both of those movies and combined it. Don't worry, there's no twerking moment at the end of the movie, don't worry. But I really did like the dynamic they gave with her being a Kraken and a human and trying to blend that all in. And another thing I'll also say is that the fight scenes were really, really good in this movie, really surprisingly entertaining regarding the mermaids and the krakens. It was really nice to see how they did with the animation of those fights. It just looked, first of all, I'm a kind of a sucker for water regarding animation, so this movie kind of caught me really well. Like I said, the underwater world looks amazing, but the fights out and in of the water just look great, man. I was just loving it. It was pure eye candy, and I was really loving what they were doing with this. Like, it's an action comedy. You kind of see where the movie's kind of going with its promotional art and trailers. It's more of that. And I think with this movie, it's original. They're trying to draw people in, but I feel like they should draw people in a little bit more. This is the problem that Elemental had. Yes, there was a much larger story behind it, but the way they marketed the movie was just not that great. And with Ruby Gillman, they advertised it the way they wanted to, but at the same time, they gave a teeny bit too much and didn't really go into the other aspects of the story that were a little more important. They probably didn't even need to show that Chelsea was this giant mermaid at the end of the movie. They probably could have shown other stuff about her family, or this dynamic between the mermaids and the krakens. They didn't really have to show the final fight. That's one thing I wanted to say. But at the end of it all, I do want to say is that, yes, you should go see this movie. DreamWorks did a phenomenal job on not just the animation, the soundtrack, the story. DreamWorks still has it with their movies. This movie was not bad in any means. Yes, it's kind of will have a slightly predictable plot, but there are some aspects I don't expect people guessing, especially a name drop, which we will get into today. We'll definitely get into it in future videos about this movie, but there is a name drop which any Disney fan will know. So it's really nice to see that we're still getting original movies from DreamWorks, and they're still being great, man. I mean, later this year we're getting Trolls Band Together. I mean, it is what it is. I'll still see it, and we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully, that is the last movie, but something in my gut is telling me it's not. But I do want to say one thing. Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, I think it did the best job of giving a lot of the world, but not giving too much. There were hints of a lot of different creatures in this world, where I think Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken could really become a franchise, hopefully if this movie does well enough. And there could be sequels going on past this movie. There's hints of so many different creatures in this universe that really has me intrigued, and the characters' development was great. I can't wait to see if all these characters do return in a future sequel, so I really do advocate to go see this movie, because I personally enjoyed it. And did I even get into the story about what happened? No, I didn't. So, picture this. It's Monday, June 19th at a local Regal Cinemas. I'm sitting down thinking I'm about to watch Nimona. And apparently I thought this was going to be an early screening of the movie, and I was like, oh, I was in Nimona hype mode. And then I realized something was off. During the previews, they showed all the animated movies that were coming up, and then I realized something. Wait a minute. They didn't play Ruby Gillman. So, what am I about to watch right now? And surprisingly, I was able to watch it basically a week in advance, basically. Not even. Longer than a week in advance. And I was just in shock. And I know a lot of people are asking me, hey, what did you see in the DreamWorks intro? I was currently in shock that I wasn't even paying attention. As soon as the Universal thing showed up, I was like, wait a minute. I'm actually watching Ruby Gillman a week in advance. And I was just in shock for a good, 3 minutes. But then when the movie actually started to go on, I was like, okay, I'm watching Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken now. Let me get into the movie now. And the first 10 minutes I really got invested into. Like I said, the movie was great, and Nimona is out right now, and chances are, when I'm recording this video, I haven't watched it yet, but I will do a review on the movie. And sorry to y'all, because I know I probably disappointed a very large comment section telling people that Nimona was coming out on that day. Hopefully you guys are not that mad at me, but still saw Ruby Gillman, and hey, I secretly contributed to the Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken box office. Probably won't do that much, but I got a few people to go see it, based on what the comments have been saying. So, that's my review-ish on Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. DreamWorks did a really great job on this movie, and we'll definitely get into more of the other stuff once most people have gone to see it. I didn't want to give my review the week that I saw it, because once again, a lot of people were like, oh boy, this guy's already seen it, let's hope he doesn't drop any spoilers, and I didn't want to be that guy, so I held off for it. But in future videos, I will get into more stuff about the movie. So, if you've seen Ruby Gillman, let me know down in the comments, what did you think of it? And if you have yet to see it, did this convince you to go see it? And I really do recommend, go check it out. And I also want to give credit, thank you for my avatar designer. He's been going crazy for a while. He's been doing my Luigi avatar. He's been doing my Spider-Verse avatar. Now we got our Ruby Gillman avatar. So go check him out on Twitter. He's an amazing dude. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone. And hey, if you stayed this long, this is a new part in the video where I give a subscriber to give their own thoughts of what they thought on the movie. So I reached out to see who wanted to talk about the movie in this video. So I found someone, and take it away.
As you heard, this guy was thinking about how the movie was actually so good. It wasn't that good, but it's not great. It's good, but not great. Overall that the movie is it's good. It's good. The ending fight, everything, the visuals, the music. The music was what? The music was actually really good. I was dancing dancing when I was dancing when that music was playing. This moment, Yeah, I had a voice crack. Anyway, overall, the movie is really good. And, yeah, I literally have no words. It's good. How many times do I have to say this? It's good, but not, it's not great. It's good. Anyways, I hope you guys really want to see the movie, because that movie was cool, and it really doesn't show it did show the ending scene in the trailer. but it's bad. You know how people on Twitter were saying, oh, this movie looks so bad, this movie will be so bad, the jokes in this movie are so bad. But it wasn't anything that the critics or Twitter said, because the movie was good. It was not that. It was not whatever the critics were saying. It was not like, oh, this is so bad. This movie is so bad. It was really good movie. Let me be honest here. I rated an 8. That movie was good. But not like the best movie of all time. Spider-Verse was better. Goodbye.